What's up? What's happening? What it do? Once again, clout chasing at an all-time high. I ain't got no spill. I just keep it all the way real. And today, what we're gonna discuss is Judge Uriel Glanville a narcissist, and does Brian Steele have a good enough defense for Young Thug? So that's what we're going to discuss today. You know what I'm saying? Because we can clearly see that it's a pretty biased court, you know, and at the same time, it's on the defense to have burden of basically proof or trying to prove yourself innocent. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of back and forth in courts in general. But I would say that it's rare to see a court as biased, but I haven't seen the inside of a lot of courtrooms, so just being honest. But the judge definitely seems kind of biased. He seems kind of, let me just show you. I mean, because I don't want to put something on somebody or whatever. But what does it say? A narcissist personality involves a pattern of self-centered, arrogant thinking and behavior, a lack of empathy and consideration for other people, and excessive need for admiration. Others often describe people with NPD as cocky, manipulative, selfish, patronizing, and demanding. So, with those characteristics, keep in mind, could those could be anyone in the courtroom, from Young Thug to Brian Steele to Uriel Glanville. But for the sake of this argument and in this courtroom, we're going to focus on Glanville.
In regards to what, sir? Oh, okay, what's your motion?
Does anyone think that Glanville is trying to bully Steele in any way? Or, you know, is he trying to overexert his authority with Steele? Does him and Steele have a prior history? I think a lot of those things need to be looked into in this case so that Young Thug gets a fair trial. Because what I've been concerned about for a while now, since I've seen Glanville's attitude towards Brian Steele, is that with that prejudice Young Thug from having good defense when the judge clearly doesn't like your defense attorney, or they might have prior beef, or hell, still might beat Glanville at all the poker games, right? Who knows where it stems from, but it definitely seems kind of personal at Steele more than even at Thug sometimes.
This is the second time that this honorable court in front of the jury has addressed me inappropriately and wrongly. Second time. The first time I gave the state discovery of a song from a Super Bowl. Weeks before, there was an objection. You assumed that I didn't give it to the state. I didn't want to embarrass the court. So you were yelling at me and saying, do you understand me? Do you understand me? And instead of saying, do you understand that you're wrong? I sat here and I said, yes, Your Honor. That was...
So with Steele, right, is Steele being a whiny brat, or does he have a good point, or does he just need to have better defense to support Thug? Is it a diversion on Steele? because he doesn't have the proper defense? Is it it's so many different layers to this whole situation. But you can clearly see Steele's getting agitated. He's growing more and more gray hairs. I don't know how far or how deep Brian Steele can go into this trial without busting a blood vessel, because he's clearly frustrated. He's a few tantrums away from a real type of meltdown, and it seems like the judge is unbothered by that, and it's getting to Steele even more.
To protect the integrity of this courtroom and the court. Now you say in front of the jury how unprepared I am. I am not unprepared for anything. Okay. I have no. I need to make a record. Your Honor.
So, like stuff like that, right? When the judge is trying to, see that you're getting on a roll and he's trying to, slow you down. Look at the brother right there. Even the brother in the courtroom is looking at Steele like, why are you so uptight? I know that you're uptight, but why are you so wound up, right? And I'm pretty sure Thug has to be thinking or just praying or hoping that Steele knows what he's doing. Because if he doesn't know what he's doing, which we know he does know what he's doing, but if it doesn't work in his favor, what will be said about Steele when this trial is done? If it goes left for Thug, what will people say about Brian Steele's defense?
Wait a second. When you keep delaying, okay, and that's what's happening to the court. You keep delaying and elongating and pushing out these particular our ability to present a seamless case in front of the jury.
Let's stop right there with all the delays, right? The day of this recording, the actual court date, it's a Thursday and they don't even have court today. So I think that's the judge's decision about a lot of these delays, and for him to put it on Steele. And when the prosecution actually fumbled the ball a lot of times in these instances, and he doesn't chew Miss Love out as harsh or as frequently as he does to Brian Steele. So going back to that narcissism thing, does the judge feel the superiority of the courtroom? So he feels like it's my courtroom, my way. Still, I don't like you or your client, so I'm going to make you have a hard time. And is that fair? Can judges do that? Do they have that ability? I'm sure they do have that ability, but when it's filmed in front of the world,
My purview as a judge, and I've asked you a number of times, you and your colleagues on both sides, to go ahead and listen to whatever it is you need to do, prepare me as needed. Now, I asked you those two particular questions because if they turned over the audio to you in discovery and you've listened to them already, then you either have an objection or you don't have an objection.
You see that? The judge is clearly unbothered or unsympathetic. We're going back to this narcissism. Narcissism. Personality involves a pattern of self-centered, arrogant thinking and behavior, a lack of empathy and consideration for other people. Does Judge Glanville display those characteristics at all? And if so, please explain to me how and what is he doing to be narcissistic, controlling, or unsympathetic or empathetic.
And I was trying to solicit from you whether or not we could just go ahead and just hear it. So you can imagine my frustration because all these little delays just elongate out our presentation in front of the jury.
Now, with the delays part, right? This man has comfort breaks more than he has witness testimony, right? He has days off at a time. Just overall, even when he's taking those comfort breaks that are supposed to be 15 minutes, they somehow stretch into 30 to 45 minutes before court is back in order. So for him to call out delays and stuff like that is kind of narcissistic, wouldn't you think? Because he has the control of the time in the courtroom when people have to submit things or things of that nature. So for him to be calling out Steele about basically wasting time is kind of unfair.
That's for your benefit, not for mine, Your Honor. So that's why I've told you all at various times during this particular case. It's not because I want to embarrass you, Mr. Steele. It's just that I'm trying to kind of keep this thing presented in a way that the jury can listen to it.
And the court is wrong. What happened was, let me finish, and I'm making this for the...
Was that a good decision for Steele to come back as soon as the judge said that and basically say, well, Your Honor, the court is wrong? It's things like that I'm looking at during this trial to know basically, even if they have all the evidence or no evidence at all, it's kind of not even about Young Thug anymore. It's about Steele showing his dominance in this black man's courtroom, you know. And if you want to turn the tables a little bit, wouldn't we want to say that Brian Steele's a little more narcissistic as well, and has a long history of white privilege and white court justice in his favor? So he would think that he, have more leverage in this courtroom. And is it a power struggle? Is it a racial struggle? Is it, like I said, are they poker buddies and Brian Steele gets the better of him at the poker table, right? So it's so many different variables, but with all those things said, can that benefit Young Thug in any kind of way?
What happened is, and I don't get embarrassed by you, but I don't want to embarrass you. I made an objection that some of these jail calls have a third party who will not testify. I objected to hear.
Take it back, man. Still say, I don't want to embarrass you. No, I'm not embarrassed by you. I just don't want to embarrass you. That was bars.
Jury can listen to it.
And the court is wrong. What happened was, let me finish, and I'm making this for the record. What happened is, and I don't get embarrassed by you, but I don't want to embarrass you. I made an objection that some of these jail calls have a third party who will not testify. I objected to hearsay. The state said it explains the effect.
Okay, which call?
So, like I said, those things like that. Let me finish. His little breakdowns, his little tantrums, those help Young Thug. And if so, how? Right? I'm pretty sure Brian Steele is a good attorney. I'm pretty sure he usually works good under pressure. But if you see the faces of these black men in this courtroom, from that brother right there to this attorney here, who seems like a pretty good defense attorney. I don't know who he is, but I'm pretty sure his stock is going to go up after this trial because he's like the less is more lawyer. The one here over here to the with the gray beard, the black brother with the gray beard, I've been watching him in court, and he watches Steele very carefully. So he's that up next attorney if he's not the now attorney, because like I said, he has the less aggressive approach, but he actually gets a lot more done as far as from what I've been seeing. But I'm pretty sure Steele is the lead defense attorney for, it's of course for Thug. And I don't know if this other brother here is what do you call it? A public defender or a paid lawyer. But I could say that from his demeanor and what goes on in court, he's just watching it very closely. I could say that. And I heard something about the Harvey law. I think they might speak something about the Harvey law that's in effect. So basically, by using that Harvey law, they're able to, the other defense attorneys, able to piggyback off of whatever Brian Steele defense that he comes up with that works in their favor. With the Harvey law, since they're all on the same case, they're able to piggyback with that defense. So, I mean, I'm not a lawyer or nothing like that, but from what I heard, that's what it is.
Which call? These calls, as you...
As they took down Facebook to keep y'all from finding out.
So like I was saying, like with these temper tantrums and these breakdowns and these outbursts, does that help Brian Steele to help Young Thug's defense? And also, while Brian Steele is talking, take a careful look at the brother with the white beard.
Hearsay. The state said it explains the effect.
Okay, which call? Which call?
These calls, as you...
Okay, well then why aren't we taking them up beforehand?
The state just said, just now, these are the 3 additional calls that they want to
Okay, all right,
introduce.
well, then here's your response. I'm going to give you an acceptable response.
I'm going to
Judge,
make
hold
my
on.
motion. Huh? I need to make my motion.
Judge, there's more to this than we need to listen to these calls.
Right.
Then I would have put, no, you didn't say that though. So I wouldn't have had that opportunity. But that's why I keep telling you this, okay? I mean, like I told you, forewarned judge, a happy judge. All right?
So, like I said before, is the judge constantly ridiculing Steele and sunning him like he's never been in court before, like he don't know how to handle court procedure? Or is Steele having temper tantrums, melting under pressure, like I said, is Glanville just a supreme narcissist, or does Steele need better tactics with a better defense?
So, had you just told me up front, Judge, we have not had the opportunity to listen to all of those calls. We've only been able to listen to 2. I want to listen to the other ones. And
I've listened to the calls. I know. I don't know what the third one they tried.
Okay,
to
well-
listen. Let me just finish. So you presuppose I don't know what the calls are. Well, I don't know what the third call is because Miss Hilton, who's professional, said I'll take a break and I'll let you know what it is. But the other 2 calls are the baseball game and at the chicken. They're discussing chicken wings. Or chicken. I understand those calls. There's issues in those calls that you need to address. But I politely make an objection and say, Your Honor, based upon what you told me, which is what you told me, we'll take it up later. I wanted to raise it. You tell in front of the jury how unprepared I am. And let me tell you something. I am not unprepared. I don't appreciate the court telling me that.
Uh-oh. He laying into him. Like I said, is it a case of a lot of narcissists in one room? Or is it a case of Brian Steele doesn't know how to eat humble pie? Or is it a case of the judge is being so unfair and so biased that Brian Steele isn't able to get a word in edgewise so he can defend his client? Or is it just the way that court proceedings are ran? Please let me know in the comments. I definitely want to know. I'm curious to find out y'all feedback because this is a very interesting case, and this is a very interesting turning point in the case. And the reason I say that is because I'm pretty sure by now everybody knows that Brian Steele called for a mistrial, and he's also called to try to recuse the judge and try to get another judge. Now, where the problem in that is that we're so far into the trial that, let's just say for the sake of saying it, another judge does come up, right? And they gotta go through all this evidence and all that stuff again. Does that help or hurt Young Thug once again? Or does that just fatten Brian Steele's pockets even further?
And you don't. And I asked you, tell the jurors that you were wrong when you admonished me last time. You said you wouldn't do that. This is the second time, and you know what it does to me? I don't care. I'm hurt because you're a court, but I really don't care. But what is?
And the thing I think about it, I think Brian Steele is deeply in his emotions, deeply in his feelings. He just told you there he's hurt by it being the court, but he doesn't care or whatever like that. Clearly, Steele is rattled. So he's using, I guess you could say, like emotional tactics. You can hear his voice goes up high pitched. It kind of gets a little squeaky when he gets frustrated. I don't know. Like I said, I've said earlier in the trial that I don't think Brian Steele is going to make it all the way through the trial. And when I'm seeing this type of defense, it's making me realize why I thought that and why I'm saying that now to you. And if you look at this this black lawyer with the gray beard, just study him while Brian Steele is talking, and you can see what I mean.
Do to Mr. Williams.
Mr. Steele, I'm not trying to personally insult you or hurt your feelings, okay? You are a grown professional advocate. I am a...
He said, look, hey, yo, did y'all just hear that? He said, you are a grown professional. So this is what I'm saying, like, is the judge being condescending or narcissistic, or is
I'm not trying to personally insult you or hurt your feelings, okay? You are a grown professional advocate. I am a grown professional jurist, and people say things to me that border on the lines of I could take action or not. You have certainly said some of those things to me during the trial of this case. I have let them go. So, sir, that's just.
You just peeped that right there? Judge already told him, you've already said a lot of things that offended me, and I've just basically let it roll off. So for you in the middle of the court to address, to make it feel like you hurt, offended, or bruised ego, or whatever the case may be, how do y'all feel? Would y'all want y'all defense attorney to behave like Brian Steele right now? Or is that part of his tactics? Let me know in the comments.
That's just the trial. That's just the trial of the case, okay?
No, but that man's life is here.
And you
affects
know
him.
you're doing a fine job in representing him.
Well,
but you know what?
Stuff like that right there. This is why I did this video. This is exactly why I did this video. Look, with that being said, right, how Judge handled that when he was like, this man's life is at stake right now, and he was like, well, you're doing a fine job of defending him. He letting you know the outcome of this case without letting you know the outcome of this case. Peep game, y'all.
You know you're doing a fine job in representing him. But you know
I'm gonna bring it back one more time because you got to really listen.
Grown professional advocate. I am a grown professional jurist, and people say things to me that border on the lines of I could take action or not. You have certainly said some of those things to me during the trial of this case. I have let them go.
Look at the brother with the white beard. Just look at his face while the judge is saying what he's saying to Steele.
So, sir, that's just the trial. That's just the trial of the case, okay?
No, but that man's life is here.
And you
Guys, it
and
affects
you know
him.
you're doing a fine job of representing him.
Well,
but you know what? That's just the way we are right now. But the crux of the issue is, Mr. Steele, and the representatives from the state and everybody else. What happens right now is I have to take a break in order to vet all of these issues, which I'm required to do, Mr. Steele. And that's what is kind of disappointing to me, because I have given you all this administrative time, all these breaks to go ahead and do this, and this is what delays the presentation of this case in front of the jury.
You know, if I would have done what the state did, and I'm not poking anything at Ms. Hilton, you would have said to me, why didn't you share those calls with him before? What, you were out all day.
Enough with illegal.
I know you would have.
But the state didn't. I'm not poking fun because I can deal with it. But
Well,
the
you know
court
what?
then steps
But
in.
here's the problem.
Well, you're
I
not
have a
finished.
problem. I have a problem with, because here's at the end of the day, I gotta listen to a 15-minute call.
You don't have to listen to anything.
But
So is Brian Steele acting like YSL Steele right now? Is he acting like a thug, a gangster, or the people that he's supposed to be trying to represent? Is he acting orderly as the court? Or like I said, is it just all a tactic for him to get a mistrial or whatever the case may be, right? Which is still defending his client. So, yeah, I mean, who knows? Is he doing a good job or is he stinking up the place? By the look on the black guy's face, he's just studying the situation. And he's knowing that it's a lot of privilege in play and it's a lot of, he got all them gray beards. He know what's going on.
You have to make a ruling
yes,
on it.
but I have to listen to it in order to make the ruling on those. And even if you said you've listened to the chicken call and the baseball call, and you say there's other issues that come into play, it's better for us to take those things up before I ask for that jury. And I could have done that this morning. I could have done that at another point in time. So, I mean,
Well, I raised this issue to you, and I don't remember the date, but it was days ago. I raised it, and the court said, all right, understood, and we'll take that issue up when it comes. Now, what am I supposed to do?
Okay.
Sit there and say no objection?
No,
Exactly right.
Not at all. Not
I
at
said,
all.
Judge, it's an issue
Not at
we
all.
have to take up.
Not at all.
And in addition to that, today alone, and this happens, today alone, the state introduced 2 exhibits. I've never been given them before, ever. You know what I did? No problem. No problem. Because I think that's professional. One was a Google map. It needs to be clarified for the record that it was not done on September 11, 2013. And then a map with little dots with 0.4 miles. I've never seen before. But I didn't do anything, Your Honor. I want to move the case. But when the court, it gives me no pleasure in saying this. I believe that this honorable court is biased against Mr. Williams and or his counsel. And I ask you to consider recusing yourself, or don't do this again to me. This is...
I mean, does he have a good point, y'all? Does he got a good point? Because, of course, we all know that the judge is being biased. And he said it himself. It's either towards his client or towards Mr. Steele himself, or maybe a little of both, right? So does he have a right, Brian Steele, to ask the judge to recuse himself from the case? Because that does go in official record now. So I don't know if they have to do additional paperwork or whatever they got to do to try to get the judge off the stand. But would that help or hurt Brian Steele's case? And especially if the judge doesn't ever go anywhere. Does that come back to Hunt Steele later?
inappropriate to me. I respect you, but what am I supposed to do? Sit there while you do this? I didn't do anything wrong. I did exactly what you teach me to do and the courts teach me to do.
All right.
But instead, no, I got to finish this. Then I get told...
Brian Steele trying to get it off, y'all.
by Prosecutor Love that I'm not being candid with the court and I'm misrepresenting because Mr. Bean never went to the hospital at Grady on September 11, 2013, and Miss Love has a document on the desk to prove it. I sat right in front of Your Honor at the table, at the bench, and I said, I'd be careful what you say. It's not accurate. Ms. Love looked down on me and she said, it is accurate. You said, we'll take a break, figure it out. After the break, you didn't even bat an eye. Ms. Love said, yeah, I was totally wrong. Mr. Steele's right. He was taking a Grady. If I would have done that and called another member of the bar disingenuous, not truthful, no candor, and misrepresenting, you would have had me.
What y'all think? If Miss Love would have did the same thing, and while he's saying this, I want y'all to see the scowl on the judge's face. See if I can zoom in on it. See if I can zoom in on his face real quick. Let me show y'all this man's face while Brian Steele is going in like this. Hold on. Because this is important, y'all. I mean, Young Thug life on the line, right? So, while Brian Steele is laying into this man like that, let's just look at his face real quick while Brian Steele is saying what he's saying.
Yelling in front of a jury. You did nothing. You didn't even ask Miss Love to apologize. I don't want her apology. I don't care about Ms. Love, but I care about the court. And now if you can walk in someone else's shoes just for a minute and see what you're doing to Mr. Williams, because it's hurtful. I'm not the one wasting time. I'm here every day, ready to go. I am not wasting the time. I make a motion to ask you to please recuse yourself. I know it has to be in writing within 5 days. If you want me to do that, I'll do it. And it has to go to another judge. But this is what's going on, Your Honor, whether you see it or not. You're yelling at me in front of a jury for nothing. And then you won't apologize. And I did nothing wrong ever on these occasions or others.
I'm going to go ahead and address your motion at this point in time.
So right there, right? This is still was that a cry for help? Was that like basically saying, Judge, I need some help here, you know? I don't know if that was the best thing for Steele to do. I really don't. But like I said, I'm not an attorney. I don't work at the court. I'm not a police. I'm just a hood dude that's trying to figure it out with y'all, you feel me? So, I don't know, like, that was like a turning point to me that really made me even want to do this video for real. Because when you feel like you have to get the judge off the stand for being so biased, and if that continues to be your judge and you get a judgment against you, is it all because of this moment right here?
I'm going to deny.
And let's be clear. He denied it. Let's be clear. He denied it. So
5 days, if you want me to do that, I'll do it. And it has to go to another judge. But this is what's going on, Your Honor, whether you see it or not. You're yelling at me in front of a jury for nothing. And then you won't apologize. And I did nothing wrong ever on these occasions or others.
I'm going to go ahead and address your motion at this point in time. I'm going to deny your motion at this point in time.
Why are you doing Steele like
also
that?
Just direct you that
You just gonna deny that man motion to recuse?
responsibility to control the proceedings in this particular circumstance. Sometimes things get kind of heated, and that's the crucible and trial of any particular case. I am not in any way intimating or insinuating that you are not professional, you are not prepared, but the things that I am bringing up to both of you, and I have.
Wait a minute, Judge. Wait a minute, Judge. Did he just say that he did not insinuate or say that Steele was unprepared, and that's exactly why Steele is going off, because you said just that, Judge? That's the part of the narcissism that he believes his own lies. So was Steele correct to try to get him recused off the case? Should it be a mistrial? Or should they get a new judge? Or should he stay on as the judge? And if he does stay on as the judge and Young Thug loses the case, what does that say about Steele?
not being prepared in the sense of, and the only reason it affects the trial of the case is it makes the proceedings a lot longer than they should be, because all these things could be taken up. And sometimes if we've got to parse out all these things, as you can see right now, it takes time, and that's what I'm kind of concerned about, having been a jurist for a long time. So, I understand that you're a zealous advocate. You in no way offend me by raising any type of motion. I think you're doing I think that you and the others here are representing your clients well, but sir, I have to be able to control these proceedings. And you at times in these proceedings have not listened to what the courts told you, and I certainly could have explored other options. I didn't. So, I'll tell you that much, for what it's worth.
You allowed a member of the bar yesterday ask a witness who constantly is committing, respectfully, potentially perjury. Did Mr. Steele shut off and turn on the recording? I never did that. I wouldn't do that, and I didn't do that.
Okay, but sir,
I would have said that question about another member of the bar, prosecution. You would have come over the bench and said, "How dare you?" I sat there and I said, "Outrageous! You denied the motion." I think 3 other people made motions to strike or to object. You denied it. Judge, I'm just telling you, the appearance, if not the reality, is not good here.
Find what you
Damn
love.
commercials.
Love what you
Mr. Williams.
Okay, but
Maybe to the others. Maybe
you're
you're
his advocate, okay? And that separate issue of whether or not you did what you did, the state accused you.
Hold on. I want y'all to see.
Judge, I'm
Hold
just
on.
telling you, the appearance, if not the reality,
They tried to mess up.
is not good here.
They tried to mess up with a commercial. But after the point when he said the appearance is not good here, watch this brother face again when it seems as if Steele is slightly trying to throw them under the bus, because he's basically saying the other clients are getting justice, but I'm not. I want y'all to see this. Watch this.
Yes. You denied the motion. I think 3 other people made motions to strike or to object. You denied it. Judge, I'm just telling you, the appearance, if not the reality, is not good here. I'm being...
What, to who?
To Mr. Williams.
All right. Now, when the judge asked him to who, and he say Mr. Williams, look at the brother with the gray beard face. The next couple words come out of Brian Steele's mouth.
Okay, but
Maybe to the others. Maybe
you're his advocate, okay? And that separate issue.
He looking at him, y'all. Maybe to the others.
The state accused you that they have the right to at least inquire about whether or not that happened. Now, whether or not it happened or not, I'm not making any comment on it, but it goes to bias, it goes to motives to misrepresent.
But that never happened. No.
Okay, but I'm not commenting on that. That's for the jury. That's for the jury to decide.
I asked a question about a missing recording that I wasn't given of a statement made by Mr. Bean. And what you told me?
And I keep telling
you. You told me? You said, does the state have it? They said no. You said, nothing I can do. I tried to cross-sign it. You sustained an objection.
Because it doesn't exist at this point in time. Now, if it exists at some point, I told you I'd say it. 1, I tell you, I apologize to you. And then 2, I'll take corrective action against the party or the entity that failed to give you that particular statement.
But the point is, everyone knows he spoke to the detective beforehand.
No, we don't. That's totally honest. You believe it. You honestly believe it, and that's true.
On September 17th, 2013, on recording, Mr. Bean tells that to Detective Quinn. How is that far-fetched? Why would he ever say that? I lied to the other detective. Why would he ever say that? I mean, logic has to come into this courtroom at times. But you stop me from doing it, but you allow another lawyer make up that I'm stopping and starting a recording. And he says, Well, I don't recall. I don't remember anything.
Here's the thing: that's why probably Miss Love asked me to put it under seal for the time being. But I mean, I'm not saying anything. But if true, that's a pretty serious accusation.
If true,
You see what I'm saying? Judge know damn well that man went to the hospital and they interviewed him at the hospital, but they don't have a recording or anything to say that he had an interview at the hospital. But when he was talking to Detective Quinn, he mentioned what he told the people at the hospital, meaning the other officers at the hospital from the first interview. So for the judge to sit up there, y'all got to see the games being played, y'all. Hey, this how the big boys play. When people life on the line, it get personal.
I'll die right now. How about that, Judge Glanville?
Wait a minute. Listen, we got to go back.
That's why probably Miss Love asked me to put it under seal for the time being. But I mean, I'm not saying anything. But if true, that's a pretty serious accusation.
If true, I'll die right now. How about that, Judge Glanville?
Still ready to die on this sword.
About her objection. I'm speaking with the court. I'm speaking with the court.
Okay.
I'm speaking
Let him
with the
finish,
court.
and then you can stay here.
My point is, if you don't see what's going on, it's because you're not viewing it out of the lens
But
of a
Mr. Steele, I can't do that. I have to be the referee. So the jury decides those particular issues of believability and credibility. Now, I'm not getting into the throes of war between you and the state. That's your business, and that is certainly
nothing to do with a throw war.
No, but I mean, it makes your ability as an advocate. I told you before, that's your ability as an advocate. All right.
Man,
As I'm professional, I am not unprofessional. You were wrong.
I think at that particular point in time, given the totality of what happened, that's what the court's assessment was. Sir, I am.
But it was wrong.
It's a snippet in time. Mr. Steele, you're a very good attorney, but I'm a professional jurist, and you may not like some of the rulings that I make, and you may not like the way that the trial is going at a particular point in time. That's for all advocates. Miss Love and her colleagues, I've told them the same thing. But I think that my job as the referee is to give you a fair trial, and that's what I'm going to do.
Well, I hope that's true. But you just told the jury I'm unprepared. And I am prepared. I don't understand why you would say that.
Both of you.
Looking at the judge's face a lot of those times when still making those comments, and by what he already said about Steele, I've already said things in the trial that he basically let slide. Do you think he's going to keep letting Steele slide, or he going to actually hold him accountable for the things he's saying and basically make him pay? Because it's clear that Steele has a disdain for the way that this thing is going and the way that he feels he's being treated. But having a temper tantrum and getting snotty and disrespectful, I don't think that's going to help.
And I'll level this against the state. Both of you, that's being unprepared, because that I have to then listen to this to rule on it.
I understand, but I'm the only one that the jurors here, the court, take ire with. Ever. Without an apology, without...
Oh, I think I've taken Miss Love and Miss Hilton and her colleagues to task many times.
No, I've heard you yell at them.
I've taken them to task as well.
I've heard you say to her, stop interrupting me.
That's taking them to task.
The jurors never heard that. Ever. So I ask for a continuing recusal motion. And I know it's not in writing, but I assume that you're ruling on it right now. That's what you're saying.
Well, when you got to put it in writing, but I mean, I'll rule on it at this point in time. I'm going to deny them. I'm going to deny the motion, but you need to put it in writing if that's what you wish to do. And
I'm also asking for a mistrial based upon your statements. I think I made that clear, but I'm asking for a mistrial.
Okay, now,
I
Ms.
think
Love.
I don't think it's a fair forum for Mr. Williams. And I don't want to ask for a mistrial, but I have no choice when the court is saying what it said, and I'm not going to repeat it.